Annelids by Holly, Nicole, and Sam. Some of the distinguishing characteristics are that they are bilaterally symmetrical, which means they have mirror image both sides of their body, and if they're divided into two, each halves will be the same. They have no backbone, which means they have an invertebrate body plan. They have segmented bodies and ringed body structure, which divides the body into ring-like segments marked externally by grooves or separated internally. They have a skin breathing, which means that gas exchange occurs through the skin rather than through the lungs. They have a regeneration ability, which means they can regrow lost segments. They have muscular body walls that help aid movement. They also have a moist cuticle, which secretes protective fluid. They have bristly hairs, which help aid movement while they are in motion. They have a closed circulatory system, which means that the blood is in vessels, contained within vessels, allowing for transports of nutrients and gases. They have a true coelom, which is a fluid-filled cavity that separates the digestive tract from the outer body wall. And they live in habitats that range from marine, freshwater, and terrestrial.
So for marine worms, there are actually over 8,000 living species that we know about, including ragworms, lugworms, bloodworms, and sea mice. They can vary in size from a few meters to about 3 meters or 9 feet long. They are divided into two subgroups called Arantia, free-moving groups, and also Sedentaria, tube-dwelling forms. Their head has a short sensory projection and tentacles, and their body is often brightly colored. Their diets can have a few different variations. They could eat minute aquatic plants and animals, but some are also purely carnivorous, which means that they would only eat animals. For reproduction, some of them, there's budding, which means a portion of the adult body will break away to form a new individual, and also some species will have sperm and egg that are just discharged directly into the water. And for human use, some species are used as food in the South Pacific, and also some species are used by humans as bait for fishing.
Next is terrestrial worms, and there's over 3,000 types of species. The most common type that you're probably familiar with is earthworms, and then some of them are parasitic. One of their important roles is aerating the soil and turning it over. They're some of the most defenseless creatures. Their abundance and wide distribution is why they are able to survive. Their freshwater oleogates are usually smaller but more mobile. They do not have a head, but many species have a silitium. Their habitat is common all over the world, including the sea, fresh water, and moist soil. Their diet varies by their species, but a lot of them are scavengers. They feed on decaying matter, bits of leaves and vegetation, and animal matter. Their food is moistened by secretions from the mouth, and food is drawn inward by the sucking action of the muscular pharynx. Their size also varies by their species. Their range in length is a few millimeters to more than 3 meters. With reproduction, they have hermaphrodirites, which is functional reproductive organs of both sexes occur in the same individual. And then the growth and development are direct. There is no larval stage.
The last group is leeches. There are around 700 species that are known of, and they are typically parasitic, but not all of them are blood-sucking. They are used in therapy and medicine since ancient times, and they draw blood as part of traditional medical practices. They currently play a role in microsurgery and the treatment of joint disorders. They can range in size from 1 centimeter to 45 centimeters, or 1.5 feet. They have a flattened muscular body that tapers at both ends, and the head has a sucker that is used for attachment and feeding. Some of the habitats that they are found in is freshwater, marine, and terrestrial environments. Their diet includes feeding on blood and other bodily fluids of their host animals, and some even prey on small invertebrates. For reproduction, hermaphrodites have both male and female reproductive organs, and two leeches are needed to pass sperm from one to another. After fertilization, the leech secretes a mucous cocoon from the clitellum, which slides along the length of the body and collects fertilized eggs as it passes over the genital pores.
So, for the evolutionary history, annelids first evolved around 518 million years ago during the early Cambrian period. This is when the oldest known fossils of annelids date back to. Annelids went under significant diversification during the late Cambrian to Ordovician periods, and that's when the emergence of various groups within the phylum occurred. So, in the Carboniferous period, around 299 million years ago, fossil records show more modern mobile polychaete groups appeared. The early ancestors were most likely small worm-like organisms. They had bilateral symmetry, they developed a true body cavity, and their bodies were divided into segments, and each segment can contain muscles, nerves, and organs.
With their ecological significance, they are pretty big for us. They have a thing called bioturbation. That's the disturbance of soil and sediment by living things. So they are able to provide service by loosening the sediment and then helping with the penetration of air and water. And then they're able to alter the chemical environment and support a more diverse community of benthic organisms. And then by breaking down organic detritus, annelids in all habitats make nutrients available to other organisms. The polychaetes mix and add oxygen to seafloor sediments, which is able to provide food for larger marine animals, which indicates environmental quality, and then it helps process organic matter in marine systems. They provide a meaningful link in many food webs, being a food source for a wide array of animals such as birds, fish, moles, more of like your smaller animals. And they're a conduit for energy transfer from decaying organic matter to higher trophic levels. They're also a key role in marine food webs as prey for various species. And then their excretions, known as cast, are rich in nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus. And then this is able to increase the soil fertility and creates a favorable condition for plant growth.
Even though many people think of them just as worms, annelids are actually very interesting and have lots of topics that can be interesting. They are used for many things by humans, like agricultural and for medicine. For agricultural, they improve the soil structure through aeration and water retention, which leads to better crop yields. For medicine, they are environment monitoring, and they're used to monitor soil health and pollution levels and the sensitivity to environmental change, which makes them useful indicators of ecological health. And they're also commonly used for bait for fishing. Leeches are most commonly used in medicine, and they have a long history of use in healthcare, dating back to ancient Egyptian, Greek, and Indian practices, where the primary goal was bloodletting. Hydrotherapy is where a leech attaches itself to the skin, draws blood, and releases a saliva containing helpful substances which helps prevent blood from clotting, and other compounds in their saliva help reduce swelling, improve circulation, and can act as a mild anesthetic. During medieval times, when leeches were common, they were often used as a medical cure. Leeches are still essential for medicine and are used to increase blood circulation. The native leech decline was initiated by the historical medical trade, where they were traded commonly. More recent changes in land use, wetland draining, and a loss of grazing have contributed to losses of the least population. Here is a list of the sources that we have used to find this information. Thank you for listening.